All right, guys, I'm back for chapter 2. Lily to the rescue, two little piggies. Remember in chapter 1, Maggie Rose and her brothers were playing baseball. And then Mom called them in and asked if they wanted to help save two little piggies. Chapter 2, car ride. Craig sat up in the front seat next to Mom, and I sat in the back with Maggie, Rose, and Brian. They smelled deliciously sweaty in their t-shirts. Where are the pigs, Mom? We going to a farm? Craig asked. Mom shook her head no. No, she replied. It's the strangest thing. I just got the call. It may even be a hoax. They said there are two baby pigs running around inside a truck stop off the highway. It doesn't seem very likely, but that's what they said. What's a hoax? Maggie Rose asked. It's kind of a joke that involves someone telling a lie, Mom replied. Well then, Maggie Rose said, I hope it's not a hoax because I'd love to see some little piglets. Can I name them, Mom? We'll see, Mom answered. If they're boy pigs, then Craig and I should name them, Brian declared. We'll see, Mom repeated. I wagged because I smelled wonderful things outside the car, things like dogs and trees and horses and other animals. Wherever we were going was probably going to be a lot of fun. We drove long enough for me to become drowsy in the back seat and fall asleep with my head on Brian's shoulder. When he said, Lily, quit breathing on me, I woke up a little and licked his ear. Everyone but Brian laughed, so I did it again. Brian had eaten a peanut butter sandwich earlier, and I could taste it on his ear, which I thought was simply amazing. Why don't all people put peanut butter in their ears? It seemed a very smart thing to do. I licked Brian's ear again and he pushed my face away. Finally, we arrived at a hot place where the ground was covered with hard cement and the grass and trees were in the distance. Nearby cars and trucks, large and small, roared up and down a very busy road. Okay, everyone, Mom said, stay close to me. I don't know what we're dealing with here. We walked up to some glass doors, and when they slid open, a gust of cold air brought me delicious food scents. Melted cheese, melted cheese, broiling hot dogs, sweet, sticky drinks in cans and cups. There was something else as well, two animals I'd never smelled before. There were animals inside this place. A large man walked up to greet us. He smelled a little like meat and a little like plastic. Are you from the animal rescue? He asked. Yes, Mom replied. What's this about some pigs? This picture shows all the smells, all the things that all the things that Lily smelled. The man shrugged. I was just sitting behind the cash register and the doors open, and these two pigs came walking in as happy as you please. They're pretty young, these pigs, but they're fast. I tried chasing them, no luck. The animal smell was coming from something called pigs. Mom, can I have a candy bar? Craig asked. Me too, Brian said. Let's just figure out what we have first, boys. Sir, where are the pigs now? Mom asked. I reckon they're in the back somewhere, probably underneath the sweatshirt rack. That's where I saw them last. I'm a little too old to be chasing critters on my hands and knees. All right, Mom said. Brian and Craig, you boys start checking up and down the aisles and see if you can spot the pigs. Maggie Rose, you stay with Lily. I knew the word stay, but had never been fond of it. It meant I should not move until I was told I was a good dog. Sometimes I didn't even get a treat for doing stay, which was very unfair. Lily put her hand on my collar and told me to sit, so I sat. I watched curiously as Mom, Craig, and Brian crept through this big place. There was food. I could still smell it, but they didn't seem interested in that. I didn't know why. Instead, they were pushing through big metal racks with pieces of soft cloth hanging from them. They also looked intently at the floor, but there were no treats there. I see them, Craig called. I watched, completely baffled, as Craig suddenly dropped out of view. A rack of clothing fell over and I heard a squealing noise. It was an animal sound, and it sounded afraid. Crash! A shelf with hats collapsed. The big man standing with us groaned quietly. They're coming your way, Brian, Craig shouted. I started in amazement when I saw the flash of two pale animals dart across a clear space on the floor. They were both smaller than I was, but very quick. They ran a little bit like dogs, usually using all four legs. Obviously, these were the pigs. I missed, Brian yelled. He staggered back, and a cardboard box with bags of nuts hanging from it toppled and fell to the floor. I wagged, thinking that if my friend Casey the Crow were here, he would appreciate this. He likes nuts more than just about anything. All of a sudden, Mom knelt down, and then she stood up, shaking her head. They just ran past me, too. They're so fast and wiggly. I watched as Brian and Craig careened around. Sometimes I caught a glimpse of the two pale little creatures as they dashed from side to side. This was fun. I didn't understand any of it, but it was fun. All right, boys, Mom called. This is obviously not working. Come on back. Mom, Maggie Rose said, maybe we should let Lily see if she can make friends with them. The boys came slouching up. Can I have a candy bar now, Mom? Craig asked. I'll give you both candy bars for free if you'll help put the displays back once we've caught the pigs, the man standing with us said. Both boys brightened, and I glanced at them curiously. People do things all the time that dogs don't particularly understand, but that doesn't mean it's okay not to pay attention. Right now, Brian and Craig were alert and happy, though as far as I could see, nothing had changed. I felt my girl's hand releasing my collar. I shook, yawning, ready for whatever we were going to do next. Now I realized why the boys had suddenly become happy. They knew Maggie Rose was going to let me go. Okay, Lily, Maggie Rose said, go tell the piggies that they should stop running away. I heard my name but did not know what my girl was asking me to do. I sat. Doing sit is one of the first tricks I learned, and it remains one of my most popular. Then a movement caught my eye. Underneath a hanging shirt, a pale snout was poking out, sniffing vigorously. I got up and looked at Maggie Rose to see if it was okay for me to stop doing sit. She smiled, so I knew that it was. Curious, I trotted down the aisle to take a look. I half expected Maggie Rose to call me back, but she said nothing. I've learned that some animals are afraid of dogs, even an easygoing dog like me. So as I got closer to the pig, I began moving more slowly and carefully. I didn't want to startle it. I saw that my scent had reached that snout, because suddenly the nose turned in my direction, twitching and snorting. The little animal poked its face all the way out and stared at me. My nose and eyes told me several things. First, I had never smelled creatures like this before. They smelled magnificent. A heavy, earthy odor clung to them, along with a mix of other scents that included, oddly, milk. Second, as the other one poked its head out at me, I realized they were sisters. There's just something about the common smell of litter mates. It doesn't matter if they're dogs or cats or strange four-legged creatures like these pigs, you can always tell. These two pigs were nearly identical in every way, except that one of them had a small dark patch under one eye, and I could tell they were young. Older and bigger animals usually are. Older and bigger animals are usually slow. These two were twitching and jumping, and their heads and eyes were moving quickly to take everything in. I knew they were babies. There are some things I understand, and one of them is that for any sort of baby, whether it be a bunny or a kitten or a pig, to be away from its mother is sad. It's not how things should be. Something had happened to these pig sisters, or was happening. That's the end of chapter 2. What do you think happened to the pigs, the two little piggies, and how is Maggie Rose and her family going to catch them? We'll find out in chapter 3.